If you've been shouting at your screen, wishing the residents of Coronation Street would finally realize that Theo Silverton is abusing Todd Grimshaw, you're definitely not alone. Actress Harriet Bibby, who plays Summer Spellman, has opened up about the challenges of portraying her character's involvement in this deeply emotional domestic abuse storyline. For a long time now, Todd has been suffering in silence behind closed doors, trapped in a toxic and controlling relationship with Theo. His manipulative partner has gradually broken him down through emotional abuse and frightening outbursts, isolating him from those who care about him the most. This naturally raises the question, how has no one noticed? Summer Spellman is one of the closest people in Todd's life, almost like a mix of a daughter and a younger sister. She knows him better than most, so it would seem obvious that she'd pick up on the warning signs first. However, Harriet Bibby has shared her own thoughts on this, admitting that even she found it frustrating at times, while also explaining why Summer has remained unaware. She explained that it can be difficult because you sometimes just want the character to notice what's happening right in front of them. While Summer is perceptive and emotionally aware, she has also been dealing with her own intense struggles, which makes it understandable that she hasn't seen the truth. Earlier this year, Summer was left heartbroken after losing her adoptive father and Todd's former partner, Billy Mayhew, in the tragic Corriedale crash. What she doesn't realize is that Billy was actually left to die in the fire due to Theo's jealousy. So how has Theo managed to hide such a dark secret for so long? According to Harriet, it comes down to his ability to manipulate. She described Theo as someone who carefully controls situations and twists events to suit his own version of the truth. People around him end up believing what he wants them to believe. In Summer's current emotional state, she needs comfort and support, which makes her less likely to question that version of reality. On top of that, she tends to see the good in people, making it even harder for her to suspect something so sinister. Up to now, Summer has been convinced that Debbie Webster was responsible for Billy's death. However, recent developments have started to shift her thinking, leading her to suspect that Carl Webster may have been driving that night. Since Carl is the only one who knows that Theo deliberately chose not to save Billy, it feels like the truth could come out at any moment. The big question now is Summer already starting to piece it together? According to Harriet Bibby, Summer is finally beginning to see Theo for who he really is. She believes that Summer is now capable of recognizing that Theo could even be responsible for something as extreme as murder. Up until now, her grief over losing Billy Mayhew had clouded her judgment, preventing her from noticing what was happening around her. But once her suspicions start to build, everything begins to click into place. Like a sudden moment of clarity where all the overlooked warning signs finally make sense. Harriet explains that there have been strange moments in the past that Summer ignored or brushed aside. Now, however, she can no longer overlook them, and she's starting to believe that Theo Silverton is fully capable of the terrible things he's done. That realization sets the stage for a dramatic confrontation. In an upcoming special episode of Coronation Street, Todd Grimshaw finally reports Theo to the police for abuse, while Theo attempts to flee Weatherfield before facing justice. Harriet teased that this episode will be particularly powerful, highlighting how common and real such abusive situations are, even if they're often overlooked. She also revealed a symbolic detail woven throughout the episode: the use of the color purple. It represents survivors of abusive relationships, showing that while Todd is going through a painful journey, others have endured similar experiences and come out stronger. This subtle storytelling element adds emotional depth and reinforces the reality behind the storyline. So far, Summer is only aware of Theo's emotional and verbal abuse, which came to light thanks to George Shuttleworth. But once she discovers the full extent of what Todd has endured, it's going to hit her hard. Harriet describes Summer's reaction as utterly heartbreaking. Having already gone through immense loss, watching Paul Foreman deteriorate due to illness and then suddenly losing Billy, Todd is the last father figure she has left. Seeing him vulnerable and hurt will be incredibly difficult for her to process. On top of the heartbreak, Summer is likely to feel a sense of guilt for not recognizing the signs sooner and being unable to protect him. It leaves her emotionally shaken and disillusioned, struggling with the harsh reality of what's happened. With Theo's exit approaching, his time in Weatherfield is nearly over, and Todd's suffering is finally coming to an end. Fans who have been eagerly waiting for justice can soon breathe a sigh of relief, something Harriet herself can relate to. She even shared that viewers frequently approach her in real life, urging Summer to step in and save Todd, joking that she's doing her best to make it happen. Tonight's episode of Coronation Street saw Carl Webster erupt in anger after uncovering a secret scheme by Ronnie Bailey and Kevin Webster to take him down. Although Ronnie had second thoughts and backed out, Carl was livid to learn they had been plotting behind his back and didn't hesitate to issue a serious warning. The question remains, will Ronnie and Kevin back off? In the previous episode, Ronnie and Kevin joined forces after Carl attempted to blackmail Debbie. Even though Carl later apologized and insisted he simply wanted to reconnect with his biological mother, Ronnie remained doubtful of his intentions. Deeply concerned about his sister's declining dementia, Kevin reassured Ronnie that he would support him in dealing with Carl no matter what it took. Together, they agreed that the only way to keep Debbie safe was to remove Carl from the situation for a long period. In the latest episode, Kevin met Ronnie at Chariot Square Hotel to check how their plan was progressing. Ronnie revealed that he had reached out to Carl's shady contact, Fiona, hoping to trap him in illegal activity. At the same time, Debbie spent some pleasant moments with Carl, even mentioning she was thinking about starting dance classes. She was pleasantly surprised when Carl revealed he had some dance skills, and the two shared a light-hearted moment practicing steps together in the hotel restaurant. Watching them from a distance, Ronnie began to feel torn. Seeing Debbie happy made him realize that having Carl arrested would ultimately hurt her. As a result, he decided to abandon the plan and informed Fiona. Later, Ronnie admitted to Kevin that Fiona was not happy about being messed around, though he acknowledged it was fair. He added that while he still wanted Carl out of their lives, the plan didn't feel right anymore. Their discussion was suddenly cut short when Carl confronted them, furious after learning everything. He revealed that Fiona had told him the full story out of frustration after Ronnie backed out. Carl then reminded them that Debbie still prioritized him above everyone else, and warned that she would be outraged if she found out about their betrayal. Although he chose not to tell her this time, he made it clear that he wouldn't stay silent if they tried anything like this again. Coronation Street airs on weeknights at 8:30 p.m. on ITV1 and is also available for streaming on ITVX.